Hey y'all, it's What Sold video day. Today we're going to go over 1 week's worth of sales in my online clothing resale business. I've got some vintage. I've got some of my boys' old clothes. I've got some formal stuff too, really. I've got one non-clothing item that was really fun. It was vintage also. There's some really good sales, so I'm excited to share. Hi, I'm JENNYSHANEYFELT. There are so many ways that you can make this online resale business work for yourself, but the way that I do it is I focus mostly on clothes and I get them from thrift stores. I want to find them for as cheap as possible, but I want to find high quality, I want to find good name brands or great styles and flip them for a profit. I've been doing this for about 1.5 years and I come on here once a week and share with you what has sold to hopefully help you along your resale journey. Before we get into this week's sales, I just want to say thank you so much to you guys who have subscribed. Gosh, there were over 100 subscribers after that last video. I was blown away. That was the week where I shared with you guys that I had made one change in my business and sales had exploded, and that change was Prime Lister. I'm still loving it, and I was so glad to see that so many of you are trying it out from the link that I gave you guys. I'll put it in the description of this video too, in case you just haven't got around to clicking on it. But if you do click on it, you get 1 week free without ever having to enter a credit card. And then after that, if you want to continue, you get 30% off of your first month. So I'll put that link down there again for you guys. And if you want to know more about what the heck I'm talking about, just go back and watch that last video. And if you've got any questions about it, I don't work for them, but I am loving using it. So maybe I know the answer. If not, maybe I can find the answer. All right, let's get into these sales. Okay, my first sale of this week was this, my dog's squeaking her chew toy back there. Sorry, you guys. This new with tags Betsey Johnson, originally $48, kimono, floral, dark fairy, ruffle duster, sheer, Y2K, one size. And it did still have the tag on it, $48. I paid $3 for it. I listed it for $39. 242 days later, the buyer offered me $30. I thought that was definitely fair. I accepted for a profit of $21. If you've been reselling for any length of time at all, I'm sure you know about Betsey Johnson. So when I was pulling up all of my sales to get ready to do this video, I was curious, and I wonder what is the most expensive thing that has sold recently that's Betsey Johnson. And so I pulled up the comps and I thought we'd look at those together. So if you are unaware, when you're running comps on eBay, and that's usually where I do mine, you can hit this research button. And I found out recently you don't have this research button unless you've already listed at least one item. So if you're brand new, just go ahead and list something so that you'll have this research button, because it comes in so handy. It'll tell you so much. I just typed in Betsey Johnson. So it shows me that the sell-through rate of the Betsey Johnson brand, so that's everything that has had Betsey Johnson in the title, is 13%, which is not amazing, but look how high it can sell for if you get the right piece. This is what has sold in the last 90 days that had Betsey Johnson in the title. Whew! Blows my mind. Okay, let's look at this top selling piece. This is so fun. It was a vintage 90s Betsey Johnson white silk ribbon milkmaid fruit dress. Isn't that cute? Betsey Johnson is just so fun. And there's the older vintage Betsey Johnson tag. This was not my sale, you guys, so let me make that clear. I sure wish it was, though, because it sold for $3,300. So y'all keep your eyes peeled for vintage Betsey Johnson. All right, back to my sales that are going to pale in comparison to that one, but I'm still thankful for them. This was one that I think sold twice. I think the first person that got it said it didn't fit and sent it back. I titled it Lauren Ralph Lauren Women's 12 Long Sleeve Dress Black Sheath Professional Career. And if you are a woman of a certain age, you know how valuable this ruching can be. That's what caught my eye about this dress the most. I love me some ruching around the waist. I paid $3.15. I listed it for $28. 27 days after it was listed, the buyer offered me $22. I accepted for a profit of $14.27. This was a Christmas sweater that I had had since last season, so I was glad to see it sell this year. I titled it Holiday Time Medium Ugly Christmas Sweater, Festive Tassels, Fiesta, Merry Christmas. It had these balls on it. It had the hangy mirrored letters. It was just holiday time, which I believe is sold at Walmart. But if I can find ugly Christmas sweater, you know that's what they call them, in good condition for not very much, I'm gonna pick it up. I only paid $3.15 for this one. I listed it for $21. It took 348 days to sell, but I know that if I list it at Christmas time and it doesn't sell, it's probably gonna sit a whole nother year, so I'm willing to do that. The buyer offered me $18 and I accepted for a profit of $10.76. And for me, with my inventory, I'll have to show you guys one day how I store my inventory. It is nothing earth-shattering. It's just 2 tall shelves where I've got it broken into sections where I put dresses together and tops together and sweaters together and pants together, and I just try to fold them real neatly and put them to where I can see what it is. I need an inventory system with numbers where I can go right to it or have one of my kids go right to it, but I haven't bitten the bullet to do that yet because I know that's going to take some time to get it organized. But anyways, what I was trying to say is I have all of my Christmas sweaters in a Rubbermaid tub, and that way it just keeps them out of the way when it's not Christmas time. Next was a Depop sale. It was a vintage Liz Claiborne pleated skirt. I actually have a shirt that matches it in its exact same pattern, but for some reason I listed them separately. I thought I could make more money that way. The shirt still hasn't sold, but it's really cute too. I paid just wait, I gotta read you the title. I titled it Vintage Liz Claiborne Red White Pleated Skirt, Women 10 Herringbone Preppy Office. And here's your vintage Liz Claiborne tag. I am definitely not saying to go out and pick up every vintage Liz Claiborne piece. Definitely not every modern Liz Claiborne piece. I love selling maxi skirts and I love vintage, and this one was just so cute. I paid $2 for it. I listed it for $33. The buyer offered $26. My profit there, because Depop's fees are so low, was $22.43, and it sold in just 15 days. Next was a formal piece. It's BHLDN, which they pronounce beholden. I just take all the vowels out. This is Anthropologie's wedding and bridesmaid line, and they're really, really, really expensive, brand new. I titled it Beholden Long Formal Amanda Dress. That was the style name. Women's 4 Beaded Sequin Evening Gown, Prom Bridesmaid. And I did show some flaws that it did have. I probably would have listed it for a good bit more if it didn't have those flaws. It was just a beautiful dress. And here's the tag for you. This was not one from the formal haul where I shoved all 50 formals in my trunk. This is actually one that I did hand pick, and I was really excited because it was the first time I ever found beholden. I paid just $4 for it. I listed it for $89, and I sent someone an offer for $80, and they accepted. That gave me a profit of $60, and it took 122 days to sell. My dog is staring at something so intensely. What is it? She's freaking me out. Come here, show them your cute haircut. Look at your sweet face. Look at them. Show them right there. Oh, you're so cute. You're so cute. She's the best. She's the best. Okay. Go play. But don't be loud. That's my bandy. All right, next, I guess you could also call a formal piece or business. This was a vintage Yves Saint Laurent blazer, men's size 42T, suit coat, jacket, black pinstripe wool. I paid $2. I listed it for $100. I did not get a ton of interest. So when someone offered me $50, 187 days later, I accepted for a profit of $38.40. This was a vintage Chico's women's medium black velvet fall vest embroidered orange, red, green. I was actually shopping with my mom one day. Hey, I know you love velvet and embroidery. Do you want this piece? I was like, sure, we'll try it. So it took 461 days to sell. I paid $3.99. I listed it for $45 just because it was so unique and there was nothing else like it listed. I didn't have a whole lot of interest in it, so when the buyer offered $20, I accepted for a profit of $14.54. This is about like those Christmas sweaters. It was very seasonal. You're probably not going to wear this outside of the fall months, so I knew when it didn't sell last fall that would probably sit, and it did. Next is Catherine's 3X long button top blouse, purple, black, V-neck, tunic length, long sleeve. I paid $3.15 for it. I listed it for $28. I sent someone an offer and they countered back at $20. I accepted for a profit of $12.85 and it took 284 days to sell. Next is Barefoot Dreams 1X cardigan, cozy chic light, long duster, soft sweater, olive green. I could have also put pockets in the title. If it has pockets, I usually try to put it in there. Guess I just ran out of room. I paid $3.15. I listed it for $50. 29 days later, I sent someone an offer for $45. They accepted. That gave me a profit of $32.85. Next was this adorable 4T overall dress. Vintage Girls 4T Jordache denim blue jean overall dress, pink ruffle, frilly jumper, 90s. I didn't even look up the comps in the store. If I had seen how many of these were listed, I might not have picked it up, but it was so cute and so fun to sell. I'm still glad that I did. But there were a ton of these exact ones listed. I bought it for $3.99. I listed it for $15. It was part of my weekend sale. It had made it to 15% off. And someone bought it at that price. So $12.75. And that gave me a profit of $6.61. So I'm not really sure it's worth the time that I put into this because I did have to iron those ruffles too, along with the time of photographing it, listing it, shopping for it. But it was still a fun sale and it took 66 days. Next was C&C California. I like finding this brand. 100% linen, boxy floral top, women's 2X, boho, high-low hem, coastal. I paid $2.15. I listed it for $25. I sent someone an offer and they countered back at $18. And because we're in November and this is such a summery piece, I did go ahead and accept that. Profit was $12.40 and it took 40 days to sell. Next was something that I picked up based off of style. The brand was Eyeshadow. Don't know that I've ever picked that up before or since, but I just loved everything about this top. I titled it White Cottagecore Peplum Top, Flutter Sleeve, Crochet Lace, Women's Medium, Fairy Boho V-neck. It took 197 days to sell, and again, we're in November now, and this is a very summery piece, so I was surprised that it sold along with the C&C California piece to two different buyers. But I only paid 48 cents for this piece. I listed it for $25. It was part of my 20% off weekend sale, and someone snagged it up at that price of $20. That gave me a profit of $16.45. Next is a Lululemon piece that my sister gave me to sell. I titled it Lululemon Men Medium, Navy Blue French Terry, Oversized Sweatshirt, Crew Neck, Zip Pockets. It took 90 days. I had no money into it. I listed it for $44. Someone sent me an offer. I countered back $33. I did a lot of negotiating this week, didn't I? A lot of counter offers going on in here. Love it. My profit was $27.30. Next was a pair of pants that belonged to my boys. And to tell you how long I've had these, they are taller than me now. So they're like 5'11"-ish. And they're in a men's medium. These were boys 14. That's how long I've been hanging on to these. And I've only been reselling for a year and a half, but I went through all their old clothes that I was hanging on and listed a few of them. I titled these Wranglers Boys 14 Regular Elastic Pull-On Pants, Stretch Gamer Cargo Khaki Pants. The Gamer Cargo was the style name. These were nothing special. We got these at Walmart. I say that I had no money into them because I did get a ton of wear out of them. Listed them for $11 and they were on the 20% off weekend sale, and they sold at that price of $8.93. They were listed for 460 days. That profit there was $6.50. Next is my one non-clothing item of the week. It seems like I've had one every single week for several weeks in a row. It was this vintage cross stitch piece, and you can see as I flip through the pictures, it's from 1979, and it was in this big thick wood, mahogany wood frame. The frame itself was worth a lot because mahogany is pretty expensive, and it was thick and heavy. And it was cross stitched with a Bible verse, which I love. I almost kept it. Why didn't I keep it? I titled it Vintage Cross Stitch Mahogany Wood Frame Farmer Wife Farmhouse Christian Bible Verse. I got some super close-up pictures of a few of the scratches in the wood, but to me that just adds character to a vintage piece like this. I showed the measurements. It wasn't super big. It was 10 inches tall. This was listed for 299 days. I paid $199 for it. I listed it for $50. There wasn't anything to really compare it to. That was in a mahogany frame. That was vintage cross stitch. That was Bible verse. That was farmhouse. So I just was shooting for the moon there. But one day when I sent someone an offer of $32.40, they accepted. That gave me a profit of $25.31. Okay, next is a merino wool piece. If I find merino wool in anything, I'm going to be looking it up. The brand was Joseph and Lyman, made in Italy. When I ran the comps, it wasn't anything super duper impressive, but I just like selling merino wool. I titled it Fine Merino Wool Sweater, Men's Extra Large, Joseph and Lyman, crew neck pullover, made in Italy. It took 496 days to sell. I paid $6.99, which probably was a little too much. I listed it for $28. The buyer offered me $22. I accepted for $10.61. All right, next we have another one of those stretchy liquid knit type fabric that I have sold so much of lately. I titled it Chico's Travelers Women Extra Large 1618 Liquid Knit Top, 3/4 sleeve, V-neck, stretchy. I paid $2. I listed it for $25, and 54 days later someone paid full price on Poshmark, and that gave me a profit of $18. It was a pretty good week. I had 9 sales on eBay, 6 sales on Poshmark, 2 sales on Depop for a total of 17 sales. Before I get into the breakdown of the profits, I do want to ask you, if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. It is the #1 way that you can support this channel and help me grow, and I so appreciate it. While you're there, if you hit the bell icon, that tells YouTube that you want to be notified every time I release a new video. And if you want to send some extra love my way, you can hit that like button. Thank you guys so much. All right, so let's look at the profits for this week. My total sales plus shipping that my customers paid this week was $591.10. The platform fees that eBay, Poshmark, and Depop took out of those sales was $91.49. What I had to pay to ship these items to the customers was $104.14. That brought my earnings to $395.47. So that's what was deposited back into my bank account. But to find my true profit, I do have to take out the cost of goods. So what did I spend on each of these things initially in the thrift store? So altogether, these 17 things cost me $45.19. So that brought my profit to $350.28. And I'm so grateful for that. All right, I'll see you guys next time. And if you haven't yet and you still want to check out Prime Lister for 1 week for free and 30% off of your first month, I will make sure that I put my referral link in the description of this video. I'll see you next time.